Steve, what about the Manchester Free Trade Hall? Can you tell us some of your memories, maybe, you know, in memory of Tony Wilson, kind of?
Yes, well, I could say at the Manchester Free Trade Hall, we brought the Sex Pistols to town, and we opened up the show for them, and they was and the Sex Pistols came on after us and played, and it was all like brand new. And in the audience was people like Tony Wilson and other Manchester characters, you know, that formed bands later, and so you know, Tony Wilson came to see the show as well, you know, and it gave people a lot of ideas about in Manchester that, you know, you could start your own music scene or start things, because it was all very corporate and distant, you know. I mean, this kind of music was like kind of music that people could relate to, you know.
Yeah.
And also with us being a local band, it was like, not only is it music that people could relate to of that generation, it was also that, you know, like a band like BUZZCOCKS, we just kind of lived down the road, you know. It wasn't like we was living in LA, miles away from Manchester or some distant thing, you know. It made sense. And people like Tony Wilson, you know, champion Manchester in that way. Of course, he started to, you know, put out records by Joy Division a bit later on. So, you know, there was a lot of inspiration and excitement, you know, from photographers, people writing fanzines, just everything. People kind of all joined together. You know, it was just an incredible time for that. You know, all these ideas came together from people, and people became quite strong through it. You know, you know, they found identities or became very creative. You know, so it was amazing. It was a very exciting time.
Yeah. Steve, let's talk about Harmony in My Head. It's one of my favorites of all time. Can you tell me some details about the song, you know, about the period?
Yes. I was thinking at the time, there's many complex things. Earlier, I'd read a book by James Joyce called Ulysses.
Yeah.
You might be familiar with that title in other ways, Ulysses, the classic. But, you know, it was written in very cinematic imagery, like 21st century imagery, rather than like straightforward stories on a page. It was like many images, you know, of a day in the life of this guy, Buck Mulligan. So that's how they sort of, you know, that book kind of set the tempo for this kind of working in images. So I tried to write like that, where it wasn't linear and specific, you know. It had many images in it, very cinematic, you know. Flash images. And it was about having self-doubt and having the, you know, corporate industry coming up, because they just built a place called the Arndale Centre in Manchester, which was like a shopping mall, you know, like an American shopping mall. And that seemed a little bit impersonal in some ways to me. And so, you know, the opening line says, "Whenever I'm in doubt about things I do, I listen to the high street wailing sounds in a queue," you know, just the percolation of the people on the street. And it goes on from there, you know. But with all the things people fear, or when you look at in the crowds of people in cities, you know, it was still music to my ears. It was still a harmony in my head. Now, I found out later Plato spoke about harmony in a way, so that was very interesting after the fact, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And it was that, really, you know, like whatever the troubles are in your city, then, you know, it's still music to your ears in some ways. People's problems, people's happiness, everything, you know. And so I tried to fit in as many complicated things in the song as I could, but just simply easing it off with the you know, the chorus, you know, but it's a harmony in my head, you know. So that just simplified the matter, you know. And you know, it's more or less kind of saying in a way, like, you know, not to worry, that's life and civilization, you know. All the ups and downs, the terrors, the torments, everything is you know, we just learn and we live to deal with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, you know,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of complexity in that one.
Okay.
It's going back to the book Ulysses that James Joyce wrote. You know, people at the universities are still trying to figure out the whole meaning of that book.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was asked about it, he said, "I don't know what it was about," and I'd forgotten, you know, which made me laugh.
Okay.
But you know, that's what it feels like to me sometimes with that song. There's a lot of complexity there, you know. But it's a good rocking song as well.
It's perfect.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome. So, Steve, for many people, the BUZZCOCKS and the Ramones has something in common. The melody. Do you think so?
Yes. I mean, when we were starting out, I mean, the Ramones had just brought their first album out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some similarities. I know the Ramones were very big fans of the BUZZCOCKS. They came to see us very early on, the first time we played in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, they're very American, and we're quite British with our sound as well, you know.
Yeah.
Even though it's all very universal, the music travels the world. But yes, there is that. The Ramones had the melodies, and we did, you know. I also would say about, you know, I was talking with the Ramones sometime, but we do have a lot more complex structures in some of our songs as well, you know, a lot more things going on sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But we was big fans of the Ramones, and it's true, they got great melodies, and just like the BUZZCOCKS have, you know, we always had tunes. That's what made us stand out, I think, you know.
So, Steve, can we expect a new BUZZCOCKS album soon, maybe?
Well, yes. I'm just finishing off the solo album, which you've got the 2 tracks there we've sent you. We're still working on, and after that, we're carrying on with this tour now. We're going to Spain, and we're going to Italy, and then we go to Australia and America.
Yeah.
And after we've done that, we will be starting on to record a new BUZZCOCKS album.
Okay, wonderful.
So it might be out by the end of the year or early next year, you know, the year after, sort of early.
Okay.
You know, we're just doing this tour at the moment where they've released the first two albums.
Mm-hmm.
So we're playing those first 2 albums back to back, you know.
Wonderful. Okay, Steve, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
I'd just like to say this as well, that a few months ago I was in Athens when the riots were on.
Yeah.
And, oh yes, I was there protesting with the students, you know.
Yeah.
I was outside that government building.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some pictures of it which will be on MySpace within the next few days.
That's interesting, very interesting.
But, because I also, you might not know, I have a Greek girlfriend from Kanaliena.
Oh, yeah.
So I have much affiliation with Greece in some ways, you know.
I understand, okay.
So I just thought I'd let you know those bits because you know, for the past 10 years I always come over now and go to the islands or spend time in Athens, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So
okay.
I love the food there, and I love the, you know, the Greek people and the way of life there.
We love you too, you know.
Thank you very much. So, you know, I do have a lot in common, a lot more than a lot of people know about Greece, you know.
I agree.
But I've travelled to many islands. I was in Pyros in the summer.
Yeah.
I think that's the new Mykonos.
In a way, yeah.